Hi, my name is Vishal Khan and I am the creator of BK Technologies. This is my first video on this channel, and this channel is based on creating games in Unity and using Visual Studios. This video is about creating an AI that can move to a set destination. So let's get to it. Okay, so as you can see here, I have an empty project. So first of all, we need to go to 3D object and plane. So we have a ground. I'm gonna reset the transform on this so it's a lot easier to see. Second, let's create a material for this ground. Let's call it ground. And I've made a folder for material, prefabs, and scripts. That's optional if you want, but I like being organized. So add the ground material onto the ground and let's change its colors to something dark. I kind of like that, so I'm gonna choose that. Also to mention, I have the navmesh components which you have to download. It's in the description below. I'll leave a link. So go ahead and download that before you do all this. Now I have to make an empty object, name it navmesh. Let's drag it to the top so it's easier to find. Let's add a navmesh surface. And once we press bake, you can see that it bakes our nav mesh on our ground. The nav mesh is so that you know where our player can go or not. Next, we'll make a obstacles. So I'll just get a cube here and call it obstacle. After I do that, let's make that into a prefab. So it's once we edit one of them, we can edit all of them. So next, I'm gonna drag him and technically make a map. So if you want to add another obstacle, you can just press Command D on a Mac or Control C on a Windows and it will duplicate the thing. And now you can press W on your keyboard or click the arrows at the top to move it. So once you've made your map layout, we can add a material for the obstacles. So let's create a material. Let's call it obstacle. Let's drag it onto one of our obstacles in the hierarchy. Now we can change the color, and I'm feeling a green color. So you can change the color to whatever you want, but I like the green. So now we've changed it to 1, but we need all the others to change. So we go into our obstacle that we changed. We go to overrides and apply all. Now you can see that all of the objects got applied. Next, let's create a empty object. Call it obstacles. And let's drag it here. And let's drag all our obstacles under it and close it. That will help us stay more organized. But before we close it, let's add a nav mesh obstacle so the player cannot go through it. After we've done that, we can close the obstacles holder and let's create the player. So I will go to 3D object sphere and you can see that the player is pretty big. So I'm gonna scale it to 0.5 by 0.5 by 0.5. I like that size a lot. So I'll start it from here. Now I want mine to be floating just a bit off the ground so it looks a bit cooler. We can name the sphere player. And we can name our ground. So after you've done that, let's create another material for the player. Material. Drag it into our material folder. Let's call it player. Go Once we've done that, let's drag it onto our player. Click on the albedo and let's make it a red color. Why not? You can change it to any color, like I said before. Now, we need to add a script to it. So we go into our player, but first, before we add the script, we need to add a nav mesh agent so it can move by itself. Okay, so now let's make a script. Let's call it agent controller. So we click it and click add. I'm gonna move mine into my scripts folder so I stay a bit more neater. So once you've done that, let's go into our player, look for the script and double click it to open it in Visual Studio. So once it opens up, two things before we get started. Let's delete the update function and let's add another namespace in the beginning for the Unity Engine.ai. By adding the Unity Engine.ai namespace, we're basically telling Unity that we need to use the AI so it knows what we're doing. After the bracket, we need to do public transform and let's call it goal. We're calling it goal because the goal will be where the player travels to when we click play. So if our goal is somewhere really far, the player will be able to go to it. So next, in our start function, we need to add a navmesh agent. Let's call it agent and set it equal to get component of type navmesh agent. We're doing navmesh agent and calling it agent because we're basically telling that all the things with a navmesh agent will be called an agent and it should have a get component of type agent. So if we save that, and the next line we'll do agent.destination equal to goal.position. That's technically telling it from the agent's position, so from the player, we want it to go to the goal position, so wherever we want it to finish. So if we save it right now, let's head back into Unity, wait for it to prefab. After it prefabs, we'll be able to see that we have a goal component and we can add our goal. So let's create an empty. Let's call it Waypoint because that's what we're gonna be making. See this cube here? Let's click an icon so we can see where we're adding it. And let's drag it to wherever we want it to finish. And make sure it's on the level where the player will come. Otherwise the player will get confused. So I added mine there. And now if we go to the player, make sure we have all the navmesh agent stuff on it and make sure we have all the obstacle avoidances on our obstacles. We can now go to our player, scroll down to our script, and the waypoint, we can drag it into our goal. So we're technically telling the player over here, find its way, avoiding the obstacles to our waypoint. So now if we click play, we should be able to see it work. As you can see, the player is going towards the waypoint, but you can't see the waypoint. As you can see, it went to it pretty good, but there's one problem. The player keeps on hitting the obstacles. So we click on our player, we go down to the navmesh agent, and under the obstacle avoidance, we want to change its radius. I've done this before, so I like 0.75. And now if we click away, it should work. So if we click play now, wait for it to load. And now if we go through it, it should be avoiding the obstacles a bit more. So as you can see, it avoids it more. And then it gets to the destination that we set it to. The good thing about it is that we can technically add as many agents as we want. So I'm gonna add 2 more. So we have 3 altogether. And if we click play, the good thing about doing that will be that when we click play, all of our players will go to that one waypoint. So you could just keep on adding as many plays as you wanted to. So as you can see, some are choosing its own path, but they all end up in the one position. Thanks for watching the video, hope you like it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe.